Hi there, Laura here from Get Organized HQ, and today I want to tell you about the items that I only own one of to maybe inspire you to think of ways that you can declutter and pare down your belongings. Now, this video is not going where you think it is because it's not going where I thought it was going, so I guarantee you're going to be a little bit surprised about what I have to say. So recently I saw my YouTube feed, another YouTuber doing a video about what she only owns one of. I think she was inspired by another YouTuber, so it's a thing that people are talking about. I've done videos before on like items that I don't buy anymore or items that I don't own or don't need, again, to inspire you, to give you some ideas of things that you might be able to declutter. So I thought it would be a great idea to share with you things that I only own one of, or perhaps that there's only one of for each person in my family. But here's the deal. I sat down to, outline the video, as one does, and I realized that there's actually very, very few things that I only own one of. And if I really want to come up with a list, what I have to do is either include items that, like, most people only own one of, like my house, for example. I only own one home. Or my car. We only have one car per driver in the family. So yeah, if I included things like that, I guess technically, but I don't think that would really be helpful to inspire you to declutter, right? Because you probably only have one of those. And then if I really narrow down the category, like I only have one bright pink highlighter that is a fine tip. Okay, yes, but I have other bright pink highlighters that are a broad tip, and I have other highlighters. So I would have to really, really pare down. Or I only have one pair of brown sandals. Yeah, if I pared it down enough, I could probably come up with a list. But for the most part, I realized personally, for most items, I only own one of. The things that I could actually come up with were a winter coat. I don't have multiple of these. I only have one winter coat, and I do have a light denim jacket, but that's not something that I have a ton of, and I find that it keeps it easier to manage because winter coats are very big and bulky. I don't know if you've noticed this, so they take up a ton of hanging space in your entryway or in your closet or wherever you're going to put them. So that's why I like to only have one of those at a time and only one for each member of my family. I also only have one of several of my makeup items. So I only have one foundation, for example. I do have a backup on hand, but I only have, one that I'm using. I only have one eyeshadow palette, only one blush. That really simplifies things for me. And I find that even if I have multiples, I gravitate toward only using one of them. So it's just simpler to have one of those. Now there's some items like kitchen items that I think a lot of people only have one of, like a mixer, rolling pin, things like that. I'm the same, but other than that, I realize that for most things, I actually have several of them. And what I want to talk about here is that we all have our own individual clutter thresholds. So it doesn't make sense to just have a one arbitrary number that everyone should only own one of this, or everyone needs to own 2 plates per person, or 2 towels per person, or something like that, because you need to find your own clutter threshold and what works for your own family. Because, for example, I know some people maybe only own 1 dinner plate for every person in their family. And that may work great for you. And if it does, I think that's amazing. But for me personally, that would just serve to stress me out. Because, first of all, I don't just use dinner plates for eating. I use them a lot of times when I'm cooking. So I'll have like a plate of, I'll get the meat done, I'll need to set it aside and I'll put it on a plate. So then what do I want to do? Like use all my plates for cooking, and then before we even get to sit down and eat, I have to wash them? Like, that doesn't sound like fun. Or I actually like loading the dishwasher throughout the day as I go. This does not cause me any stress. The dishes are going in the dishwasher. I can't even see them. And then I would hate to have to run it, and my dishwasher takes 3.5 hours to run, and it would not be as efficient, or I would hate to have to wash those plates in between every meal. So we have at least 12 dinner plates. Also, we do have guests fairly often, and I don't want to have to use paper products every time we have guests. So that's what works for me. However, maybe you're a person who you don't have a dishwasher. So you have to hand wash them anyway. And what stresses you out more is the huge pile of dishes that could accumulate if you actually owned 12 plates. And then that would give you the freedom to be able to not wash after breakfast and then eat lunch and not wash and then eat dinner and not wash and then wake up the next morning. And you're waking up to all these dishes. So if that's you, it would make perfect sense for you to only have enough dishes for every person in your family. So the point here is that you need to figure out what works for you and what causes you the less stress. And I wish that I had like a perfect formula for you here to say, all right, here's exactly what you need to do. There is no perfect formula. But what I would say is, if you're not sure, if you're like, would having fewer plates stress me out, or would it make things better? You can always try it. So if you're really not sure, then just give it a try. Go ahead and pare it down and put it in the halfway house. Now, I usually caution against having too many I'm gonna decide later items, but this is one exception to that. If you're really just thinking, we might enjoy paring down, but I'm not really sure, you can have a little location where this thing is waiting on, and then give yourself a time limit. So say, I think 1 month, for something that's very frequently used, 1 month is probably enough time to know whether it's gonna work for you. And if you get 3 or 4 days into it and you're like, I absolutely hate this, you don't have to stick with it the whole month. Go ahead and get those things back out and realize, okay, this is the amount that I need. Or if you're still undecided, keep going for the rest of the month and at the end of that month, evaluate, okay, do I want to go ahead and permanently get rid of these things, or would I like to reintroduce them? Because sometimes the only way to know what your personal clutter threshold is to actually try it out for yourself. But again, I am not giving you blanket permission for every single item that you'd like to leave your house to have it in like this waiting to decide point. There should be tons of things that you get rid of. This is only for those things that you think you might want to pare down, but you're really having a hard time deciding. Another example of this might be towels. Like, do some people maybe have one towel for every person in their household so that their laundry can't pile up? Or maybe you want to really pare down clothing so that your laundry, again, can't pile up. This is where I would encourage you to put something in a wait to decide and see, does this actually bring me less stress? Do I feel more at peace, or do I feel more stressed? Because there is a point of decluttering where you can go so far that it starts to have the opposite of the intended effect and it starts to cause you more stress. But that depends on you and your circumstances. So here, I just want to encourage you to try it for yourself and to think outside the box. If you have 5 winter coats, say, what would I look like if I had one? If you have 22 pairs of shoes, say, what would it look like if I only had one? Or maybe I have 1 pair of flip-flops, 1 pair of dress shoes, and 1 pair of tennis shoes, or something like that. So ask yourself those questions and see how much you can pare down, but don't be afraid to have the amount of stuff that works for you and your family. I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you have it as a goal to declutter. So I'm gonna link to my decluttering playlist down below. Go watch that for loads more inspiration on how to declutter better, faster, and easier.